So I've told a lot of stories on this channel of spoiled kids, but I think today we have the story of the most spoiled kid ever. Subscribe if you like stories, and let's call today's subscriber who sent in this story, let's call him Arnold. So this all happened at a family reunion, and this was a 3-day long event. So on the first day, right, Arnold gets to the family reunion with his parents, and there's a ton of people at this thing. It's like it's like multiple branches of the family, and there is a one side of Arnold's family that he never really saw. It was like his cousin on his dad's side. They just like his dad and his brother didn't really talk that much, so he didn't really see them much besides like family reunions like this. So his cousin, right, was the most spoiled kid ever. And if you don't believe me, just sit around, stick tight, and you'll hear the story, and then you'll 100% agree with me by the end of this. So Arnold and his parents walk over to this kind of big field, and in this field there's a lot of people there, a lot of people from his family, and they're cooking up barbecues. They got all these tables set up. The first day is like an outdoor event, and they're all just kind of there. They're having like a big barbecue just to like talk to each other, see each other, kind of like get to know each other again, as a lot of people in the family don't really see each other because they live all over the place, but they all decided to come together just to kind of like a bit of a reunion that they have every 10 years or so. So anyways, right, Arnold and his parents, they walk over, and Arnold's mom is carrying some big plate of food or whatever, and she goes and sees like her aunt, and she's like, oh, where should I put this? And she's like, oh, put it on this table. And anyways, right, Arnold is kind of looking around, and he sees like a group of kids, because Arnold at this point, he's 14 years old, and most of the people here are like legit adults. They're like 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever, but there are some kids here, right? And he goes over and kind of like hangs out with the other kids that are there, and there's like some other people, but the main important person that you need to know who is there is Arnold's cousin, aka the most spoiled kid ever. We're just gonna call him the spoiled kid for the duration of this video. So anyways, right, they're all kind of like standing around talking. They're having very basic dialogue. I mean, like, they don't know each other that well. They're not going to be talking about the meaning of life or anything, but they're just kind of chilling. They're having a chill conversation. You know how it is. And for some reason, right, the spoiled kid decides that this conversation, talking about like Fortnite or whatever, is the perfect opportunity to talk about his dad and how much money his dad makes. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. The spoiled kid was legitimately like, oh, so like my dad just got a promotion yesterday to MD at Goldman Sachs, and he's going to be making 400K a year. But like all the other kids are like, okay, man, like, congrats, you really worked hard for that. Like, okay, nice, like, you're really grinding hard for your dad's promotion. Like, bet, I get it, like, whatever. But the thing is, right, the spoiled kid, Arnold's cousin, didn't even notice, or even if he did notice that people weren't really caring, he decided to willfully ignore it and was just like, yeah, so we're going to be going on even more trips, and I'm going to be able to get the new Yeezys. And Arnold's like, okay, nice. He's like, yeah, I bet you guys are a little jelly. And, they're all just like, I mean, like, that's cool, man. Like, I'm glad someone here's parents are winning, because Arnold's parents, they did fine, but they were very solidly like middle class, if not like lower middle class. Like, it is what it is, man. He had a good childhood. Like, I don't know. They supported him. They were loving parents. But yeah, no, his dad was not like a managing director at Goldman Sachs trading corn derivatives or anything like that, man. But anyways, Arnold immediately was like, all right, so I don't like my cousin that much, but maybe, just maybe, he'll find a way to redeem himself, and maybe he's just having a mental episode right now. Maybe that's why he's acting so spoiled. So eventually, right, it was a barbecue, but like most of the food wasn't ready by the time Arnold got there. So eventually, right, Arnold's uncle or aunt or whatever, right, they're like, all right, it's time to eat, guys. So all the kids run over, and, I don't know, Arnold gets in line. He picks up a hamburger. Like, it's some good food. Like, it's not like some, 5-star delicacy, but like he's enjoying it. It's good food. But he looks over at, his cousin, right? The spoiled kid. And sure enough, the spoiled kid looks at the food, looks around, and goes, bleh, bleh, bleh. And Arnold kind of looks at him like, are you fine? Like, are you feeling sick? He's like, I'm not feeling sick now, but like, if I eat this peasant food, I might be feeling sick soon. Arnold's like, dude, like, come on, it's actually pretty good. And he's like, I wouldn't want to put that filth in my body. I would just be like you guys. And Arnold is like, all right, this guy is a complete ass. Like, what the heck? Like, why is he my cousin, bro? Like, what is going on here? But anyways, right, the spoiled kid actually ends up turning to the family member that was like preparing the food and serving it to people and like making sure it stayed like nice and like whatever, right? She was she was behind there prepping the food, and the spoiled kid goes up to her and says, "Excuse me," and she's like, "Yes, I don't know." Cousin name, spoiled kid, whatever his actual name was, right? Yes, spoiled kid, like, what's up? And he's like, do you by any chance, right? Do you happen to have any non-peasant food? And she was like, what? And he's like, I don't know. I just think my stomach can't handle such barbaric food like this. She's like, I mean, I could get you some lettuce. And he's like, it's fine. It's whatever. I'll just starve. So he just walks away. And Arnold is just looking at this kid like, bro, you can't be serious. Real quick, comment spoiled down below if you want to harden your comment. Secret word of the day is spoiled. Don't take it too personally if I don't get to harden your comment right away. I'm probably going to be pretty busy when I post this video. And also, if you want to support the channel like a lot, binge watch my videos. I got playlists in the description. And please, please let me know in the comments if you're doing that, if you're watching a ton of my videos in one sitting, so I can try and personally thank you for helping the channel so much. Anyways, back to the story. You guys might be thinking, all right, well, he seems like a pretty bratty kid, but is he really the most spoiled kid you've ever told on the channel? And let me just say that day 1 was nothing compared to day 2 and day 3. So let's skip ahead to day 2 of the family reunion. So anyways, right, this was not outside in the fields anymore. This was not like an outside barbecue. They were going to a restaurant for lunch. And look, they had to seat like a ton of people. They're not going to be banging out a ton of money for this. They just kind of went to I don't know, kind of more of a diner type restaurant, or not diner, kind of more of like a burger place, like a burger shack or something like that. It wasn't exactly fast food, but it was pretty adjacent to it. I would say similar to like In-N-Out if you've ever been there. But anyways, right, they all get in there and they sit down, and I don't know if your family did this, but my family always had like a kids table. All the adults would sit together and then all the kids would be sitting at a table. And so anyways, right, Arnold and the other people there who didn't suck, and then his cousin, the spoiled kid who sucked big butt, right, they all sat at the same table. And they were looking at the menu, and, the spoiled kid was like, do you guys see any filet mignon? Do you see any, I don't know, beef Wellington? Do you guys see any, just listing off more super expensive, super fancy, 5-star gold-plated food and stuff? And Arnold looks at the kid and is like, bro, you do realize we're in a burger place. I don't know who told you that you're going to be able to get like a filet mignon or like a beef Wellington in a burger place. But let me just say that, you're not going to get it. And the spoiled kid's like, oh, well, I'll ask, buddy. I don't know, man. Whenever someone says buddy with a little bit of attitude, it always makes me so mad. So anyways, right, the waiter comes around and starts asking people for their orders. Arnold gets like, I don't know, their like signature burger, whatever, right? Kind of standard. And the spoiled kid is like, waiter, chop chop. And the waiter's like, all right, man, I'm being paid like $8 an hour. Just shut up. But he doesn't say that. He comes over. He's like, yes. And the spoiled kid is like, so do you guys happen to, and I'm sure you do, it's so hilarious that I even have to ask this, do you guys happen to have any filet mignons in the back? And the waiter's like, no, sir, this is a Wendy's. No, but he's like, this is a burger place. Like, no, we don't have any of that. And Arnold's like, oh, how silly of you guys. Do you think the chef could maybe whip me one up? I'll pay extra. And then he takes out his dad's credit card, which apparently he's also on his dad's credit card. And he like taps it on the table. And the waiter, once again, is like, sir, this is a Wendy's. But no, he's like, I don't think we even have like any steak in the back. Like, I could get you like a plate of ground hamburger. And at this point, the spoiled kid's like, what? You guys don't have filet mignons? All right, well, do you guys happen to have any beef Wellingtons? And the waiter's like, Sir, if we don't have filet mignons, why do you think we have beef Wellingtons? Sir, this is a burger place. And the spoiled kid is like, fine, I'll have your disgusting poor person burger. At this point, right, the waiter just gives him this dirty look. So anyways, right, eventually the food comes out and, the spoiled kid gets the burger. He kind of pokes at it a little bit and eventually does eat it because the burger is pretty good. But he's like complaining and like gagging the whole time, even though he eats the whole thing. So we think like, I don't know, the subscriber thinks that the gag, like all the gagging was just for show and he actually thought it was pretty good. But anyways, after dinner, right, they're walking down, kind of like this kind of like strip mall area. And there's a movie theater and there's a movie playing. And the spoiled kid turns to, I don't know, whatever adult was nearby and is like, we should totally watch this movie. That would be so fun. I've heard such good things about the movie. And to be honest, Arnold was kind of down for that. Like the movie he did hear good things about it. And he does want to go watch it at some point. And he's like, okay, if I have to watch with the spoiled kid, at least spoiled kid wouldn't be able to say anything or do any nonsense during the movie, one would think. And the adult was like, hey, like, we got some other stuff planned for today, but maybe later. And the spoiled kid is like, well, but I want to go see the movie. And the adult's like, well, I mean, I never said you couldn't ever go see the movie, man. Like, if you want to go see it later, that's fine. And the spoiled kid's like, no, I want to go see it now. And Arnold's like, oh, no, here we go again, bro. And so sure enough, right, the spoiled kid's like, but why? Why can't I see it? And the adult's like, we have other stuff planned. Like, you can see it later, spoiled kid. It says his actual name, but like, whatever, right? And, he's like, but, and he starts tearing up. And the adult's like, I don't know what else to say. Like, I didn't plan this event like your aunt did. She's kind of orchestrated the whole thing. Like, I just don't want to go against what she says. And the spoiled kid's like, do I not deserve to see a movie that I want to see? Am I not good enough for it? And the person's like, no, I didn't say that. And at this point, like, Arnold is just like, bro, this kid sucks. This kid sucks. He super sucks. Let's just skip ahead to day 3, the final day, and the day where the spoiled kid just goes off the spoiled meter. So I think that day 2 was worse than day 1, but day 3 is worse than day 2 and day 1 combined. It is so bad. So you really got to strap in for this one. But anyways, right, sure enough, day 3 rolls around and it's the final day. And they're back. They're actually at like the aunt's house. The aunt has a pretty big house with a very large backyard. So everyone's kind of either in the house or in the backyard. And there's like food stuff set up or whatever. And there's like events. And the parents thought it would be pretty fun if the kids would end off the day with a nice like game of hide and seek tag, because the yard was really large and they had all inside the house as well, and the parents just thought it'd be super fun to end off the day like that. So the parents decide that what they'll do is they'll all stand outside and they'll all like congregate out there so that they have free roam to hide in the house and to use a lot of the yard, the front yard and the backyard as well. So anyways, right, the aunt is like, all right guys, come around, we're setting up a big hide and seek game. And so anyways, right, the aunt's like, all right, does anyone want to be the seeker? And no one was really raising their hand. And Arnold was like, all right, well, I don't really care. So he raises his hand. He said, I don't really care either way, but I don't mind being the seeker. And I know that we need one. So his aunt's like, oh, perfect. Thank you so much for volunteering. And so his aunt said, all right, guys, here are the rules. You can hide anywhere, and if he sees you, you're not necessarily it until he tags you. But once you're tagged, you're also a seeker, and you're going to help Arnold find people. So it's mostly a hide and seek game, but it's also a tag game. It's a little bit of a mix. All right, Arnold, I'd like you to count to 100 seconds. And Arnold's like, 100 seconds? That's kind of a long time. But whatever, like, I'll do what I have to do. So Arnold starts counting. He turns around and closes his eyes, right? So Arnold in his head is like, all right, I want to find the spoiled kid and make sure that he does not win. I literally don't care about anything else at this point besides making sure that the spoiled kid loses this, because that kid sucks. Like, at the end of the day, that's all I care about right now, if I'm being honest, if I'm being 100% straight up with you guys. And so, yeah, he counts to 100 and he immediately tries to find people. And, anyways, he's looking around. He sees someone and he kind of ignores them. It's not obvious that he saw him, so it's not like a violation of like the integrity of being the seeker or whatever. But Arnold is really just looking for the spoiled kid at this time. So he looks in the front yard and he sees someone behind the bushes and he sees a pair of Yeezys and he's like, all right, I know exactly who this is. So he pretends like he doesn't see the spoiled kid. And the spoiled kid is like being very, very quiet or whatever. And then all of a sudden, as Arnold gets closer to the bushes without making it seem like he knows the spoiled kid is there, he sprints super quickly and he goes in and he very clearly tags the spoiled kid. And the spoiled kid runs off. And Arnold's like, all right, man, I got you. And he's like, no, you didn't. I dodged it. And Arnold's like, dude, I obviously got you. And the spoiled kid at this point had already ran away. And he's like, oh my God. So Arnold realized that he can't like tag him. He needs to basically slide tackle this guy to prove that he tagged him, right? Or he at least needs another person there to confirm it. So sure enough, right, Arnold goes around, finds someone else, tags them, and now this other person is now it with Arnold. So they both go around, and once again, Arnold sees a pair of Yeezys, and he looks at the other person who he already tagged and kind of gives them like the finger on his mouth, like the shh kind of motion to be quiet. So they both kind of like pretend like they're walking around looking for people as if they don't see the spoiled kid. And then once again, right, the other kid now runs up and tags the spoiled kid. And the spoiled kid is like, you didn't get me, and runs right by him, but runs right into Arnold. Like, because the spoiled kid is so busy running away and pretending like he didn't get tagged by the other guy that he runs right into Arnold. And Arnold basically gives him like a bear hug. He's like, all right, man, I got you. And he's like, no, I used force field. And Arnold's like, bro, what? There's no force field. He's like, yeah, it's the rules. And then the other guy comes and tags him again. He's like, well, your force field was down then. I just tagged you. And he's like, no, you didn't. You didn't tag me. And this happened in the backyard. So all the parents start watching as the spoiled kid is like yelling. And the other two start like, so Arnold and the other guy are like, kind of like spam tagging him. They're like tag. The spoiled kid's like, no, you're missing. I'm dodging it. Don't you see? No one can prove it. And like the aunt is like, all right, spoiled kid, like it's pretty clear that you're it. It's actually pretty fun to be it. Go tag with them or whatever, spoiled kid. Go have fun. And he's like, no. He's just like, no, I'm not gonna be at their I'm not gonna be at their level. I'm not gonna be at their level, aunt. I'm not gonna do it. And she's like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, I'm not gonna be with the poors. At this point, right, every single parent turns around and is like, what did this kid just say? Because they all knew he was kind of a jerk, but like, what? He's like, no, I will not drop to their level. They're a filthy, disgusting level. I will not be it. And the spoiled kid sprints away into the house, being like, you didn't get me. And at this point, right, the aunt is like, oh my God, like, this kid is terrible. And at this point, right, the spoiled kid's parents, they kind of know that their son's a bit of a jerk, but they're like, all right, this crossed the line. So the spoiled kid's dad, the same one that he was bragging about getting that raise at Goldman Sachs, walks into the house. And you hear, hi, Dad, ah! And then sure enough, right, the spoiled kid is like, the dad comes out of the house and has the spoiled kid in his arms, like by the gruff of his shirt. And he's like, Dad, they were cheating. I don't want to be with the poors. And at this point, right, his dad is like, kind of like his dad, like looks at the spoiled kid's mom and is like, hey, we got to go. And he's like, guys, and kind of like turns to everyone, guys, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. We got to leave early. We just remembered that we had something we had to go to. Yeah, sure, buddy. Totally not related to your son being insane or anything, but sure, go ahead. And so, yeah, the spoiled kid is dragged off by his parents into their, like, BMW, like, 200K car or whatever, right? And they drive off. And, like, the aunt is just in disbelief, and all the other parents are just standing around. And the thing is, right, there were some other kids that were still hiding, but they kind of came out of hiding and stopped playing the game when they heard the spoiled kid literally go insane. So the aunt, realizing how awkward of a situation it is right now, is like, all right, everyone, let's go out for ice cream. So sure enough, they all go out for ice cream. And Arnold decides to this time sit with his parents. And he's just like, so, did you see what happened today? And his mom looks at him and she's like, Arnold, I am so proud that you're a good kid. Like, I always knew you're a good kid, but it's just really good to see how, like, it is good to have a little, I gained a little bit of perspective today. I saw how bad you truly, like, how bad a kid could be. Thank God you're not like that kid. And Arnold's like, yeah. Remind me, let's never hang out with that guy
Click on the
ever
video on
again.
screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.